Hello my mellow foes, or should I say my curious cupids. Welcome to the first part of my Teddy video series. In this part, we'll explore his love life only. In part 2, we'll talk about his childhood friends and his overall character in the series. I wanted to separate his love life into a different video because it's just so much to get through. Also because it's a fun subject all on its own. Teddy is a very layered character, so I've been working on this video for a hot minute. Covering the main characters are just so much more time consuming because they have so much screen time. Like if you were to list the amount of episodes Teddy were in, it will be a shorter list to include the episodes he was not in than episodes he was in. Teddy is in the majority of the series, which means it's a lot more research for me. But it's hard to complain because I love talking about Teddy, especially his love life, because it is so chaotic and all over the place. Teddy's love life is a very interesting topic to explore because he has been through the ringer when it comes to romances. He's been through a lot of crushes in the series with all different types of women. From old ladies to alleged criminals to business ladies and even one of his closest friends in the entire series. Not to mention, he also has an insane marriage with crazy lore. And today we'll talk about all of it. And remember, this is only part 1. Everything else about Teddy will be covered in part 2. I just thought it would be easier to break it up, mostly for me because I hate editing and it's for my sanity. Anyway, sit back, relax, and cue up your favorite R&B love songs as we talk about Teddy's rocky road to love. Of course, as always, we're going to start from the beginning. As a child, Teddy had a very dysfunctional family. His parents were constantly fighting all the time, and Teddy would try to play peacemaker between his parents. He would sit in between them to try and discourage any argument. It would work sometimes, but if they really wanted to fight, they were going to do it anyways. Even their neighbors will hear them yelling from time to time.
They would yell, and then my neighbors would yell, "Shut up!" And my mom would yell back, "Mind your own business, Finellis, because you had problems last week!"
Because of this, Teddy has developed a few bad habits that he will carry into adulthood. One of those problems was his tendency to try and fix people. Teddy believes that with enough work and determination, he can make any relationship work, which might sound good until you really think about it. Discernment is a really important skill in dating. Knowing when it's time to let go of something that is beyond saving will save you a lot of time, heartache, and grief. Teddy does not have that skill. He does not recognize when he's being used or treated poorly by another person. Teddy will do anything for his partner, including morphing into an entirely different person to keep them, which I shouldn't have to tell you isn't healthy at all. Instead of recognizing when a relationship isn't working, he will instead do everything in his power to fix what's broken. This problem will show up in his marriage and will show up in how he goes about flirting with women once he's divorced. But we'll talk about all that later. Low self-esteem is another issue Teddy picked up from childhood. Teddy performs for love. His self-worth relies almost entirely on other people's opinion of him. He was especially self-deprecating in the early seasons, but he's slowly been getting better since the early days. Teddy just doesn't believe that he's enough for somebody to love. He has a hard time believing someone will actually like him for just being himself. So to compensate for that, he will force himself to change into the ideal partner. If you like boatmen, he'll be into boats. If you like sushi, he will force himself to eat it no matter how much he wants to throw up. If you like a sport that he doesn't like, he'll become a super fan. Now don't get me wrong, it is very normal to take interest in your partner's hobbies, but none of what he does is out of genuine interest or curiosity for those things. Teddy thinks that if he doesn't like what you like, then you'll hate him and eventually leave him. And if you leave him, then it will reinforce this idea that he's unlovable. It's a vicious cycle that he's constantly struggling with throughout the entire series. The last problem I want to point out is his general awkwardness. Teddy has no game whatsoever. When he likes you, he will be weird, awkward, and obsessive. He will be in your personal space, breathing like Darth Vader, and will say the oddest things to bond with you.
Hey, Linda.
Teddy smells great. I'm Teddy.
Easy, Teddy, easy.
And he also doesn't take the word no as a final answer sometimes. He thinks no means try again later when she's had time to think about it. He will try again like Aaliyah, hoping he will eventually wear a woman down to a yes, which makes him come off as creepy at times, especially in the early seasons. Teddy has a general lack of self-awareness and doesn't understand how he might come off to other people. Anyways, due to his mommy and daddy issues, Teddy has always had a rough time when it comes to romance. He didn't have an active dating life in high school. He said one time that he and his friends used to build things like generators to attract girls in high school. Unsurprisingly, it didn't really work. As far as we know currently, Teddy didn't have much luck in his teen years when it involves romance. Plus, in his teen years, Teddy was kind of bullied by some kid named Ricky, so it was kind of just a rough time for him in general. Teddy hardly talks about his teen years in general, so who really knows for sure? I mean, Bob's Burgers was just greenlit for like 4 more seasons, so who knows if we'll get another Teddy backstory episode to fill in this weird gap that hasn't been explored yet. Moving on to his adulthood. Teddy had a very interesting start to his 20s. You see, Teddy is a very superstitious person. He is the type to believe in old legends, superstitions, and curses. In his 20s, Teddy went to go see Kirby's Comet, a comet that comes around once every 30 years. He was excited to see it, of course. It's a rare comet after all. Who wouldn't be excited? I love space. I love comet watch parties. It's amazing. It's fun. Anyways, he watched the comet pass through, but right when he felt like something special was going to happen, he stepped on a rusty nail. We'll come back to this episode later in the video, but I bring it up now because this changed things for Teddy. After this painful moment, Teddy started to experience bad luck. From this point on, he believed he was cursed. He blamed his hair loss, weight gain, and his divorce on the curse of this comet. And that's not the only thing he believed cursed him in his youth. Around this time, Teddy was also casted in a movie called The Deepening. He played handsome lifeguard number 3. Teddy had a physical glow up during this time. He had long blonde hair, he was fit, and obviously hot enough to be casted in the movie as an extra. As a lifeguard of all things, he had a lot going for him. He even flirted with one of his castmates, but unlucky for him, the shark knocked into him and made him spill his drink on the poor girl. She was mad at him, and of course, she stopped talking to him.
You can forget about getting any of this.
He was devastated because he believed that she could have been the one for some reason. Teddy then hit the crafts table and started to eat his sadness away. Instead of blaming the shark operator, he blamed the shark and held a grudge against it for over 30 years. Teddy also blamed the shark for making him gain weight. So with the shark and the comet, he was double cursed. But at least he did eventually get revenge on the shark.
Die! Now it's over.
Even though Teddy was handsome in his 20s, he still didn't really have much luck with women. He doesn't talk much about his 20s dating life, but I'm assuming that it wasn't that great. I don't doubt that he got women's attention, but due to him being Teddy, he more than likely kept messing things up before he can get very far with them. Even though we don't know much about his non-roaring 20s, we do know that he eventually ended up getting married, and the woman he vowed his life to made his life a living hell. Now let's talk about his tumultuous relationship with Denise. We don't know much about Teddy and Denise's full history as of right now. Like I said, the show has been renewed for 4 extra seasons, so maybe we'll get a Teddy Denise backstory thing, which I would really love. We don't know how they met, we don't know about their relationship before they got married, or how he proposed to her or anything like that. All we know is how horrible that marriage was for Teddy. To put it as simply as possible, Teddy was in an emotionally and verbally abusive marriage. Denise deserves all the hate in the world for how she treated him. It's one thing to not like your partner. Hell, I watch Real Housewives. Half of those couples don't like each other. But Denise went out of her way to degrade, control, and humiliate this man on a daily basis. And the worst part is, Teddy to this day still doesn't recognize how bad things were between them. In fact, up until recently, he justified her actions and took the blame for making her do those bad things to him. It's just a really sad situation. It makes me feel so bad for Teddy whenever he's talking about his relationship with Denise. Let me just tell you the type of things she would do. Denise would insult everything about him, from his looks to his personality. The reason Teddy wears a hat all the time wasn't because he likes hats. It was because Denise was making fun of his head shape constantly, so he felt uncomfortable and decided to cover it up with a hat. Denise will also make him use the bathroom, well, not in the bathroom. Instead, she will make him go outside in the yard to do his business. In the yard. Y'all saw how small the yard is? Denise will also make him eat his food outside in the car by himself instead of in the house. Not to mention, she will make him sleep with a plate in his mouth because of his snoring, which is especially bad when you remember he has sleep apnea.
Oh God,
That one was like 6 seconds.
He's breathing.
I mean,
again.
how long before you die?
And one of her most infamous things she is known to do was cheat on Teddy constantly. And even then, Teddy still excused it by blaming himself for working too much. There was even a time Teddy was present for one of her infidelities. Denise convinced Teddy to have a menage a trois with this guy named Roy. Roy worked at the pier as a seal mascot and Denise was attracted to him. What's funny is that you can actually see him working there still in the torpedo episode. So Teddy still has to see this guy from time to time. Anyways, Denise was attracted to him. So she made this arrangement with Teddy where they will all spend the night together, tangled in each other like spaghetti. But that's not what happened that night. What actually happened was Denise and Roy got it on, but Teddy had to watch from the corner silently. Teddy didn't really want to do that, but did it anyways. Teddy did not enjoy that night at all and actually became traumatized by the experience, so much that he developed a fear of mascots.
Someone's excited to see the Fuzzy Buddy!
Now technically Teddy did consent to this, so it's not an infidelity, but to me it felt like Denise manipulated Teddy into watching her cheat on him. The way Teddy tells the story, it's clear that he didn't know what he was getting into and was just doing what Denise told him to do.
Wait, you had a three-way with Ray, the guy who wears the sail suit down on the pier?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't involved. I just watched, but yeah.
Teddy did always do what Denise asked of him, regardless of what it is she wanted him to do. So I guess technically it's not cheating, but more so coercion. But even outside of that incident, she did cheat on Teddy a lot. In general, Denise and Teddy also had nothing in common. Denise never really liked him as a person. And on top of all of that, sometimes Denise would go on long trips by herself without telling Teddy where she was going or how long she would be gone.
My ex-wife Denise and I had nothing in common. Her favorite thing was going on trips by herself and not telling me when or where she was going. And mine was just sitting at home, rocking back and forth a little and saying, "We're still in love," over and over.
She would randomly abandon him for weeks on end before popping back up like nothing happened, probably to another lover of hers. And all of this I'm talking about is just secondhand information given to us from Teddy. There's no telling the extent of everything she did to him or how bad the marriage was exactly. Honestly, it's probably so much worse than what Teddy is even comfortable sharing. It's safe to say that their marriage was a horrible one. Teddy was degraded and abused every day. But to Teddy, it was better than being alone. He loved Denise, and to Teddy, she could do no wrong. There was no way he would have let her go no matter what she would put him through. So it only made sense that she was the one who ended their marriage. Denise met a guy and left Teddy for him. The guy she left him for was a boat guy who owned a beachside restaurant on an island called the Skullhound. Of course, she ran away with him and started working at his bootleg ass restaurant. Don't worry guys, I already left a dozen 1-star reviews on his restaurant and I called Hugo to shut it down. It's only a matter of time. Even through that betrayal, Teddy still didn't want to get a divorce. Teddy was sad and miserable after his not so sudden separation. He started to phone in his work around town because of his mental state. Around the time of finalizing his divorce is when he met Bob and Linda. They just started the business and Linda was pregnant with Tina.
Sure, I bet whoever put him in didn't even attach him because they didn't know you guys that well back then. Plus, he might have been going through a divorce and so he cut some corners on some jobs sometimes.
And of course, from there started his relationship with the Belchers. So his attachment to the Belchers makes sense. In his lowest point in his life, he met the Belchers and kind of just attached himself to them from then on. What makes this situation even more sad, Teddy used to call himself the handy hubby for his business cards, but after Denise left him, he had to change his name to just Teddy the Handyman.
Well, it says the handy hubby, and hubby is crossed out, so it just says the handy.
Yeah, well, I was married when I had those made. Then I wasn't.
This was not the last time we would see Denise, however. Throughout the show, we would see him try and date different women. Most of the time, he couldn't even get past the first date. Hell, he couldn't even get past like the initial talking stage. He had a tough time dating for years after his divorce. But even when he was actively failing at dating, he would still think of Denise from time to time. He would talk about her randomly in little stories throughout the series. Most of the time, he would speak of her fondly, even though the stories he were telling were concerning to say the least.
Oh, well.
Tell him about my security sock. It's my ex-wife's sock. I sleep with it on my hand.
Oh, Teddy.
Yikes. I heard him say that. Yeah, that's really sad.
It was clear that he still held a very bright torch for her, which is an issue that was confronted in the episode See Me Now, an episode that shifted Teddy forward and left his past behind. Let's take a moment to talk about that. See Me Now is one of my favorite Teddy-centered episodes. This episode starts off with Teddy coming to the restaurant and asking the Belchers if they had any plans. You see, apparently he's been fixing up a boat in his spare time for years, and finally, after all that time, it is ready for the sea. I don't know about you guys, but I'll be damned if I ever step foot on a homemade boat. Absolutely not. You couldn't pay me to be in someone's arts and crafts project in the middle of a shark-infested ocean. Especially not with them killer whales, absolutely not. And them freaky dolphins, no. Anyways, Teddy wanted to invite them all on a boat for the day. Bob and Linda agreed to go, and for once, Bob seemed excited to do something. Usually, Bob isn't a fan of taking the day off of work, but he does love the ocean, so this was an exception. The funny part is, Teddy didn't even believe him when he said yes. It is so funny.
Teddy, we're coming. We said yes.
Okay, so hopefully you'll be there.
Even Louise didn't believe him when he said yes.
That's a mean joke to play on your friend, Dad.
What? We're going.
Oh.
The next day, the Belchers head out for sailing. Teddy was waiting for them and dressed up nicely for the day out.
Ah, look at you! In a shirt on a boat? Hoity-toity!
They complimented Teddy on how well he did revamping the boat. According to Teddy, it was in bad shape when he first got it, and now it's all fixed up. In fact, this boat is called See Me Now. A nautical pun, a really nice nautical pun, I love it. Teddy secured nice chairs, he has a radio, he has a steering wheel and everything.
Wait, is that the steering wheel from your truck?
It sure is. Hey, what do I need 2 steering wheels for? I can't be 2 places at once.
He even got some cheese and crackers for the trip. It's all very fancy. Teddy asked the family where they would like to go. They threw out random suggestions of places they can sail to, and that's when Teddy threw out one of his own. He suggested going to the island where Denise's current boyfriend has his bar, and wanted to stop by with his cool new boat.
You know how my ex-wife Denise left me for some guy that's into boats? Well, he owns a bar on the docks. We can swing by there and this really cool boat I have now. That might be fun, right? I mean, right? That might be fun now that I think about it for the first time.
Just an idea that he's only thought of for the first time ever, not a pre-plan that he's come up with. No, just a random idea that just popped in his head. The Belchers were rightfully alarmed by this suggestion. They gently try to suggest to Teddy that maybe there's a deeper thing going on right now. They pointed out that maybe this isn't the first time he has thought about this plan.
Your ex-wife left you for a boat guy?
Yeah?
And you've been fixing up a boat for like years and years.
Bob asked Teddy straight out, is this day all about Denise? And even tried to tell Teddy that he shouldn't waste his time trying to impress her. Teddy denied this, of course, and clearly didn't want to admit that this was his plan all along.
Impress her? Denise? What?
As Wendy Williams and Doechii will say, denial is a river. They all collectively then reminded him of how badly she treated him. They brought up her insults.
Yes, and that's why I wear a hat.
The bathroom thing.
I was not doing a great job with, and I started to enjoy it.
And of course the cheating.
Yes, but I was working 7 to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week sometimes.
But Teddy defended her actions as usual and insisted that most of their problems were his fault. Teddy ignored Bob's advice and set course for the waterfront bar. Teddy is like Carrie Bradshaw. You can't get them off of that bad partner. No matter how much you told Carrie not to be with Big, she was still going to see him next Tuesday. Just like Carrie Bradshaw couldn't quit on Big, Teddy was not about to quit on Denise. They're just one of them hard-headed lovers. Anyways, they soon arrive at the schoolhouse and we are able to see Denise for the second time in the series. We saw a glimpse of her in the Roy flashback, but she was blonde with long hair in that memory. But here, she looks completely different, a total character redesign. She cut her hair and went brunette, I guess. Anyways, Teddy started to freak out. It's one thing to fantasize about revenge, but reality is starting to set in now. Bob tries to calm him down, but it's Teddy. That wasn't going to happen. There's no stopping him at this point. Teddy tries to stage a perfect meeting by fake laughing and making the Belchers pose like a picture-perfect family.
Big smiles, everyone. Hold your plates up. You're having a great time.
Unfortunately for Teddy, Denise didn't see or hear him calling her name. So Teddy, being the totally normal person he is, decided to try again. I find it so funny how he practically kidnapped the entire family and is now forcing them to watch him crash out over Denise. The level of unhinged this episode is hilarious. He tries to get her attention again, but she still doesn't notice him.
Did everyone get enough expensive fruit salad?
We did. It's delicious.
It tastes like success.
Teddy is getting even more frustrated and busted another U-turn to try again.
I'm only in a huge boat yelling your name.
Bob tries to be a good friend and check on Teddy, but again, Teddy is way far past gone right now. He is not going to listen.
Will you please sit down?
Yeah, okay.
They try for a third time, and this time he got her attention.
My boat, I'm inside of a boat. It's my boat.
Teddy?
Once Denise acknowledged him, Teddy was at a loss for words. Again, it's one thing to imagine, but actually talking to Denise is totally different. He tries to talk to her, but he ends up just embarrassing himself in front of Denise and her boyfriend.
Huh? Hey! Hi! Denise!
After they crashed, they accidentally created a whole spectacle. You can even see Denise's boyfriend looking at Teddy with pity in his beady eyes. To get unstuck, Teddy revved the boat out and accidentally damaged the back of the boat as well before he made his escape. Teddy was understandably furious with himself for how badly that went. The Belchers tried to comfort him, but there's no getting around how bad he looked. Linda suggested they all just go home. Maybe, given some time, he'll find the story funny one day. Bob agreed and said it's probably for the best. They then noticed that the motor was damaged by the accident and is currently smoking. And on top of that, the boat was slowly filling up with water and was slowly sinking. They all started to freak out a bit, rightfully so, but Teddy told them not to worry. Teddy tried to radio the Coast Guard, but his mic was missing. Why, you may ask? Well, he needed it for his Halloween costume and forgot to put it back. Their phones also didn't have any signal, so there was no way for them to call for help. The last resource they had was the flare gun, but Teddy wasn't sure if they should use it. After all, those are for real emergencies.
Yeah, let's all keep our eyes peeled for a real emergency.
They only had one flare, so they had to make it count.
This has to be the perfect shot. Ha.
Of course, Teddy messed that up too. Bob was rightfully 2 seconds from crashing out on Teddy, but Linda tried to calm him down and keep him from going off.
Look, just don't go nuts on the poor guy.
Fine, we'll just calmly sink to the bottom of the ocean.
Teddy finally admits that he's possibly partially to blame for some of the things that happened today. But he's figured out a plan. He's going to take the boat to a private island and maybe they could call for help there. They eventually do make it to an island, but there was no place to dock. Teddy ended up hitting a couple of rocks and got the boat stuck. They all decided to get out of the boat and walk the rest of the way to the shore. They do eventually make it to shore, but then they saw that there was a no trespassing sign that had a danger warning on it. They were a bit worried about the danger, but they had no choice but to try to find help. They see a house on top of the hill and decide to head up there for help. They make their way up but eventually encounter a herd of cows. Let's just say the cattle wasn't happy with their presence there. So they decided to split up into 2 groups and climb the rocks up to the bridge, staying off the grass and staying out of harm's way. On one side there was Tina, Linda, and Teddy. On the other side was Bob, Louise, and Jean. On Teddy's side, he was expressing some regret for his actions today that led to them being stranded on an island with deadly cattle. This wasn't how he pictured this day would go on his vision board or pictured how his talk with Denise would go. Linda brought up that this wasn't really a good idea at all and asked what he was even planning on saying to Denise.
I guess I was gonna say something like, "Ahoy, Denise!"
As usual, Teddy didn't really think it all the way through. Linda suggested doing a bit of roleplay to see how the conversation would play out if he was successful.
Wow! Look at your boat! It's just beautiful!
They all talked like this, pretending things were going good. And of course, they did take it a bit far. Linda tells him as Denise that he looked good and leaving him was the dumbest thing she ever did. And Tina backed Linda up by saying she should be with Teddy and not him.
Hey, let's do it! Let's get back together! I'm gonna fix up my boat again, and then we'll fix up our marriage!
Obviously, this was not ideal. Linda was just playing, but Teddy took this whole role-playing thing to heart. Linda accidentally fed into Teddy's delusions about getting together with Denise. The obvious problem with this roleplay thing is that Linda is not Denise. I don't even think that Linda has met Denise before. She doesn't know what Denise would actually say to Teddy, or how Denise would react to Teddy popping up to talk to her in the first place. There is no way Denise would actually say or even think about getting back with Teddy. She hated that man. Denise was a weapon formed against Teddy to keep him from prospering. But in an attempt to help Teddy feel better, she accidentally got his hopes up that his marriage was still salvageable. They make it back to the top and Teddy shared the good news of his plan of getting back together with Denise.
We came to the conclusion that as soon as we get off the island, Denise and I are gonna get back together!
Bob wasn't happy about this at all. Listen, Bob may be annoyed with Teddy, but he still cares very much about him. The last thing he wants is for him to get back with the person who made him eat in his car. But right now, they didn't really have time to deal with that yet, because they were still focused on going to get help. They finally make it to the bridge only to see how wobbly and unsafe it was. Teddy volunteered to go over the bridge and get help. They were worried about the bridge collapsing with him on it, but it's a risk that he felt like he had to take. Love him or hate him, Teddy is a ride or die friend. Because I would rather deal with the cows than to cross over an old wobbly bridge. Especially with water and rocks underneath it, no. Anyways, Teddy slowly crossed over the bridge and tried to be as careful as he possibly could. And as he walked for his life, he thinks about what an impressive story this would be to tell Denise. And if he dies, he wants Bob to tell her how cool he looked dying.
Tell her I died a hero!
So you'll be dead, but you still want to impress her.
As he was making his way over, he noticed that they were going to get jumped by a bunch of cattle. So they all had to make their way across the bridge now. Tina almost fell through, but she pulled herself up after being promised a phone. There was a whole side plot thing with her trying to prove that she was responsible with an eraser. And this is the time where she finally let it go so she can have a phone. It's not really important to a video, but it was kind of funny seeing her try to hold on to this eraser this entire episode. Soon, they safely made to the other side of the bridge, but almost immediately, they were confronted by an old man. It's his job to protect the island, so he demands for all of them to leave. Bob explains the situation to him and politely asks to use the phone. After a bit of convincing, he agrees to help them and invites him in.
All right, I won't whack you. Come on in. I'll give you a tour, and I'll see if I have any of my trespassers punch.
Ooh, punch!
Nathaniel gives them a tour of the place and tells them the history of the house. When Louise asks about the cattle running wild, he tells them the story of Mr. Caffrey. Those cows were called Highland Longhorns and were imported from Scotland by Mr. Caffrey. They were a gift to a woman he loved, Gwendolyn. He loved her, but she didn't return those same feelings for him. But instead of respecting that, he just kept trying and trying and trying. He bought the cows, he bought this island for her, and he named it How About You Love Me Island, and even built this entire house for her.
That man had all the money in the world, but he couldn't get the woman he loved to love him back.
After hearing the story, Bob tells Teddy that he's just like Caffrey. Caffrey did all this to oppress a woman who didn't want him and tried to bribe her into loving him. Kind of how Teddy tries to use his boat to impress Denise and convince her to come back to him. At first, Teddy seemed like he understood the point Bob was making, but he didn't.
You're right.
Yes,
finally.
I should buy an island for Denise. That'll help me win her back.
Oh my god.
And at this point, Bob was fed up with Teddy.
What?
Teddy, stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Linda calmed Bob down and tried to explain to Teddy what Bob meant. Linda tells him that he should forget about Denise and also forget about the roleplay exercise they did earlier that may or may not have been the most helpful.
You don't have to let Denise know you're doing all right. You can just do all right.
Linda makes sure to reassure Teddy that they love him and want the best for him. And Denise, well, she's just not it. Nathaniel was moved by this and decided to help him out. He offered to take them back to shore himself. Turns out they came up on the dingy side of the island. If they would have went through the front way, they would have seen how pretty the front is.
That's the place to trespass.
Ah, yeah, that's good trespassing.
Next time, maybe.
Nathaniel tows them all home with Teddy's boat strapped in the back. While the family was talking, Teddy was in the back thinking the whole day over. He looks over at his boat one more time before deciding to grab a flare gun and set his boat on fire. Not only was he saying goodbye to the boat, but he was also saying goodbye to Denise by doing this, at least symbolically. And as a little treat, at the end of the episode, we get Teddy's rendition of Beyond the Sea. And Teddy's version of the song gets stuck in my head all the time. Anyways, that is the end of the episode and officially the end of his relationship with Denise. This episode is again one of my favorites. Teddy wanted to impress Denise and make her think that he's done great since the divorce. And the saddest part to me is that this wasn't a revenge plan to rub his success in her face. Usually episodes like this would go for the revenge route. Instead, this was a desperate plea to get her to finally notice him again. He believed that she left because he wasn't good enough. He thought if he can morph into a worthy person in Denise's eyes, aka copying her new boyfriend, then she'll come back to him. Realistically, there was no way that this was going to work. But this was Teddy's Hail Mary, the miracle plan he's been working on for years. But once that plan blew up, Teddy had to face reality. Denise wasn't coming back. And more importantly, he doesn't need her to. While Denise has moved on, Teddy was still stuck on her. And in this episode, he had to come to terms that his life with Denise was over. And that's okay. He will be okay. He has been okay without her. He doesn't need her. Teddy just had to learn to let go of their relationship and move on. Emotionally and symbolically, he finally let the relationship end. And from this episode on, he decided to have a clean start. It may have taken him over a decade, but after this episode, he is finally over his ex-wife Denise. And from this point on, he was ready to move on to better things and better people. In Teddy's words, it's time he lived his life for himself. Now that we got through his long, tumultuous relationship with Denise, let's talk about some of the women that Teddy has dated or has at least shown interest in throughout the show. Now this is the fun part, because he had crushes on the most interesting type of women. Like Gail, his type is breathing, can go outside, and has a face. But ironically, Gail is not interested in Teddy. Literally the two most desperate people in the entire show just not into each other. That is very funny to me. Anyways, let's talk about Teddy's post-marriage dating life. After his divorce, Teddy was understandably heartbroken. He dated here and there, but he didn't have much luck in love. It wasn't until the episode See Me Now where Teddy faced his past with Denise and finally let his past go. And when he did, he started to have better luck with women. But before that, he still had quite a few crushes throughout the show. These are just some fun crushes that he had throughout the series. Some will surprise you by how random they are, but trust me, it's going to be really funny once I explain these things to you. Okay, so let's start with the silly, non-consequential crushes first, okay? The first person I wanted to bring up is his mysterious cousin. According to Teddy, he has hot blonde cousin issues, and I'm assuming this is his second cousin that he went to third base with. I don't know when this happened, but it's very Sweet Home Alabama of him. Family crushes are such a weird trope in media. Family crush trope has ruined some of the best anime out there. Toma-chan is a girl, adorable anime that I love, and it was tainted by those weird ass blonde cousins. They tried so hard to make that seem romantic. Talk about, I loved you all my life and blah, 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 blah. Of course you did, girl. That's your cousin. Like, oh my God. That is not what they meant by loving your family. There's also this anime called I'm in Love with the Villainess. It is an adorable girl love anime, and I actually really enjoyed watching it. I actually really enjoyed the anime, and I liked it overall. But this adorable anime was ruined by a side character who they tricked me into caring about. This girl was in love with her brother and tried to destroy the school in the name of her incestuous love. And the worst part about it is that she compared her nasty relationship to her brother to like the main character being gay. She said that they're both taboo subjects, so the main character should understand her struggle. How is you cool? That is not the same thing. Her sexuality is women. Your sexuality is your brother only, not comparable. Then they had the nerve to try to make you feel bad for her getting exiled. Absolutely not. No ma'am, no ham, no turkey. It's a horrible trope. Like, don't even get me started on Vampire Night. Like, just don't. It's too much. And I hate it with a passion. So hearing Teddy also has participated in this foolishness, man. Let me get back to my script before I get mad. Anyways, Teddy has dabbled in his own gene pool, and he doesn't even have the excuse of being Southern. Diabolical. And I can make that joke because I'm from Texas. The next crush I want to talk about is his crush on a mannequin. One of my favorite Christmas episodes was the one where the guy thought he was a mannequin the entire time. He was in love with a different lady mannequin, and it was a whole thing. During the end, when Chet was reunited with his lady friend, they had a big kiss in the middle of a Christmas display. And you know what Teddy thought about it? He thought it was hot.
Oh, are you as hot as I am right now? Whoa.
Are you hot?
I'm fine. Never mind.
I wanted to bring it up because it was funny. Why did he think that was hot? I couldn't answer you, but I'm counting it as a crush because I thought it was funny. The next one I want to bring up is kind of Gretchen. Not really, but kind of. Let me explain. Teddy has not shown interest in Gretchen throughout the series. These two talk pretty casually, and she did ask him one time to be a backup date, but he couldn't because he was busy. But he said he would have done it if he wasn't busy. Although, during speed dating, he did hold her hand really tightly, and Gretchen seemed a little bit too into it.
Teddy, you're gonna hurt her. You're not trying to crush her.
What?
I don't mind it, Ruff.
Also, when Gretchen came by to show off her weight loss, Teddy was staring a little too hard.
One time I accidentally ate a banana peel, but I didn't look like you afterwards. Oh.
It was pretty funny, but for the most part, they're just casual friends. That's why I put it in the silly category, because it's not serious. It was just a little funny thing that happened between them. Next, let's talk about the woman in the yellow dress. There was an episode where Linda was pretending to be a psychic. Well, not pretending, she thought she was psychic. She told Teddy that he was going to find a woman in a yellow dress who will change his life. He took it as a scavenger hunt to find the perfect woman.
I'm on a path now.
No,
Go meet a woman in a yellow dress and find the nickel.
it's not a scavenger hunt, Teddy.
It is to me. Bye, everyone.
He did end up finding a woman, but she didn't even fit the description that Linda gave him. And on top of that, he wasn't even attracted to her.
Could it be a floral pattern and not a dress, but a vest?
Teddy.
I think we're supposed to meet, but I'm not feeling any chemistry, to be perfectly honest.
Teddy.
Nothing.
Teddy.
Like zero.
The worst part is, Linda wasn't psychic. He wasted days trying to find a woman in a yellow dress for no reason. Though, fun fact, he was seen dancing with her during the end credits, so it was cute, but it didn't go anywhere. Now this one is going to sound a bit crazy, but he did have a thing for the Merkin sisters. Yes, Miss Merkin herself attracted Teddy just by being herself.
Wow. Oh, look at you. Is there a Mr. Merkin?
I mean, it's not that crazy when you think about it. Teddy is in his early 50s and she's obviously in her 30s. Perfect match. And to make things even funnier is what he said when her sister came in.
Wait, how long have you two known each other?
Forever. We're sisters.
What?
Ooh, hot.
Teddy wanted two bad bitches at the same damn time, and I respect that. So yeah, he had a crush on both of the Merkins. Very interesting of him, I would say. The next minor crush he has was on a woman named Angie. Angie was Linda's friend who sold essential oils. He thought she was pretty and liked the way she smelled. They didn't interact much, but he did try to flirt with her in a very roundabout way.
I want to buy some. What else do you have in there?
Well, this is clary sage, which is good for ovulation.
I'll take it.
Oh, it's for ovulation?
Don't talk yourself out of a sale.
Okay.
But hey, at least he supported her pyramid scheme. Oh, I mean, small business. Now, the next crush we're going to talk about is definitely more of a serious crush. And it was a crush that lasted for a good while throughout the series. Of course, we are going to talk about his weird crush on Linda. Now, of course, he had absolutely no chance whatsoever with Mrs. Belcher. But if he actually did have a chance, I honestly believe Teddy would have taken that chance. This is one of the crushes that made Teddy feel creepy sometimes, because Linda is married with 3 children, and Bob is one of Teddy's best and closest friends in the show. So for him to be perving on his wife is insane. This has since been phased out of the show, but it was definitely a running gag in the early seasons. One of the earliest examples of this is when Linda flashed her milkshakes on TV to get the boys to the yard. Actually, it was to get the show off air to get Bob and Jean to stop fighting. And when Teddy saw that,
This is to save my family! A boobity 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 boo!
Wow.
Whoa!
Whoa.
DVR! DVR!
I mean, he wasn't the only one. Hugo's perverted ass tried to record it. And to make things worse, later in the episode, Teddy was actively staring at her chest and even made a comment on her body.
Show's over, Teddy. Come on.
Sorry, Lynn. It's just, you imagined something for so long, and then what you thought was pink is brown, and what you thought was symmetrical is not. It's just unsettling.
Teddy, please.
This is one of those times where it definitely fell under uber creepy. Like, sir, calm down. Her husband's right there. It's uncomfortable. Shut up. Please shut up. You saw it. It's over. Get over it. Then there was the time when Linda was trying to teach Teddy how to dance. And when she was proud of him for finally learning how to dance, he wanted to kiss.
The only thing left to do now is...
Kiss?
No, what? No! Dance! Dance out that door.
She wanted him gone, rightfully so. Because what was he thinking? Then there was a time they all went to a fake religious mixer to help a lady commit tax fraud. Teddy and Linda were dancing casually, and Teddy got weirdly territorial when Mort wanted to join in a dance.
So violent and uncomfortable looking.
Yep.
May I cut in?
You get the hell out of here, Mort!
Dancing away.
Poor Mort was just trying to have fun. And on top of that, at the end of the episode, he joked that they were dating, and then asked seriously if they were dating.
The poor schmuck needed a win.
Especially now that we're dating, right? Just kidding, right?
There was also a time when they were stuck hiding from a bunch of killer birds. One of my favorite Thanksgiving episodes in Bob's Burgers. Teddy believed that there was going to be a bird apocalypse, and his first instinct was to talk about repopulating the earth with Linda.
Whoa! How long have I been out?
A lot's changed. We don't have to start repopulating the earth yet, but eventually we might have to do just that. I don't know.
Teddy, how long have I been in here?
5, maybe 6 minutes.
Which I shouldn't have to tell you is wildly inappropriate. Another time I can think of is when he admitted to having sexy dreams about Linda before.
Teddy, are you sure this isn't because you had a sexy dream about me?
What? No! Recently? No!
And the fact that he admitted it in front of Bob is kind of crazy to me. There are 2 more crazy examples that I can think of where it moved past simple crush into more concerning territory. One is when he thought Bob and Linda broke up. His response is to be supportive and offer to immediately move into her house.
Did you kick him to the curb? Anything you need, Linda. I'm here. I'm not leaving. You say the word, I move my
Teddy,
stuff in here.
Teddy. Bob took Louise to his soccer game and Tina went too, that's all.
Oh, good. What a great dad.
And then had the nerve to say at the end that, oh, what a good husband or father. Like, Teddy, be so for real right now. That one stood out to me extra weird. Even Linda was like, okay. The other example was when Teddy was left in the restaurant by himself while the Belchers were gone. He was messing around behind the counter and started this weird dialogue to himself. He revealed that his fantasy was to marry Linda and adopt Bob as his son. It's so weird.
Thanks for not being mad that me and Linda are getting married. I'd love to stand up there and give the woman that I was married to away to you. We can adopt you. You can be my son. I'll marry your wife and you'll be my son. What a day.
And those are just the examples that I can think of, but there could possibly be more. Not to mention, Teddy wrote a list about the things that he loved about both Bob and Linda for their Valentine's Day list to help them. Like they needed his help to know why they love each other.
Bob, What about how well Linda sings that jingle on the radio about the accident lawyers? She nails it every time.
I really can do this myself, Teddy.
Well, you need 10, and I got a list you can use.
You have a list?
Forget it.
Now, that may not seem too bad to some of you. It's more so the fact that he's overly involved in their relationship, not the fact that he's being considerate. It's the fact that he's inserting himself into their Valentine's Day plans, which is to make lists for each other about the things they love about each other. And because he knows this, he took it upon himself to get involved by also writing things for them to help them out. But again, they are married. They know why they love each other. They don't need Teddy's help or input. It came less from a place of I genuinely want to help my friend, and it's more so him intervening because he didn't have a love life of his own at the time. So he kind of lives vicariously through their marriage. Like, there was an episode where all three of the Belcher children were gone for the whole weekend, and he berated them to do something together, to have a spicy date night. Now, it's perfectly fine to encourage your friends to go out more, especially if it's a rare chance that they're going to be alone for the weekend. But Teddy was invested in Bob and Linda having a freaky, crazy night.
So what's the plan?
Well, we haven't made any plans.
Wait, aren't you excited to have couple time together?
Of course we are.
Yes.
Oh, then let's brainstorm.
Bob and Linda were so tired, they kind of wasted the first night sleeping, which I don't feel like is a waste, but to Teddy, it was a waste. And when he heard that they just went to sleep, he went ballistic on them.
This time is a gift. It's a chance to reconnect with one another. Why do I have to explain this to you?
Okay, Teddy, calm down. We were tired. We'll make up for it tonight.
Damn right you will. When I come in here tomorrow, I better be dazzled by your date tonight. Dazzled!
He wants to be given the old razzle dazzle, and he wants to be stunned and staggered. He was so mad that it just stood out to me as weirdly involved. Which is why I feel like he's too involved in their relationship. He lives vicariously through them. And when they actually did have a wild night out, he was happy and he was proud to finally have a good story to listen to.
Really? I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, Teddy.
But the big point is that he was so hell-bent on them having a good time for himself. Bob and Linda didn't really need to go out, but Teddy needed them to go out. And to me, it's just another example of Teddy overstepping his boundaries like he usually does. I think my favorite time that he overstepped was when he wrote that song for Bob to sing to Linda.
I started working on a song for you to sing. Linda,
Teddy.
You're so pretty, it's a sin.
Teddy.
What?
I remembered, okay? I remembered our anniversary.
Y'all don't know how many times I unironically sing this song throughout the day. It is so funny to me, and it's definitely one of my favorite Teddy songs of the show. But that was the song he wrote for Bob and Linda's anniversary because he believed that Bob was going to forget his anniversary. So he took it upon himself again to make a gift for him like he did with the whole list thing. If he truly believed that Bob would forget his anniversary, he would have maybe called or texted or maybe talked to him before the anniversary date. He would have focused his energy on making sure Bob got her a good gift instead of getting a gift to give to Bob to give to Linda. Like I said, kind of living vicariously through him. Anyway, it was just so weird how many times Teddy has tried to put himself in the middle of their marriage. He is way too invested in their relationship. Thankfully, they phased out this aspect of his personality. When some fans of the show describe Teddy as creepy, these are the interactions that come to mind the most. Actively flirting with your best friend's wife is horrible. It's giving Bill vibes, Brian vibes, Quagmire vibes. It's just, no, it's a creepy trope that not a lot of people like. Now, Bob kind of knows about this, but he doesn't pay it any attention because he knows nothing's going to happen. Just like he doesn't really pay attention to Hugo when he's trying to get Linda. It's just not going to happen. Linda is ride or die. He knows they have absolutely no shot and is very secure in his relationship and trusts Linda. He is not threatened by sad Teddy's attempts to hit on his wife. But regardless of how Bob and Linda react to it, it's still wrong on principle. It felt like Teddy was waiting for a chance to jump into Linda's life and to take Bob's spot. But he also wanted Bob in his life. In his perfect world, Linda would be his wife and Bob would be his family. Obviously, his crush on Linda is more of a projection, not a genuine interest in Linda. Hugo is someone who is genuinely obsessed with Linda as a person. Hugo actually got engaged to Linda, like they have a whole ass history. But with Teddy, it's different. I don't really think that Teddy wants Linda, but more so he wants Bob's life. He thinks Bob's life is perfect. All Teddy wants is for someone to love him, and he also wants kids.
I'm glad you kids store your bikes in my garage. It's fun for me. Sometimes I pretend I have 3 kids of my own, and these are their bikes.
Which kid is your favorite?
Jeremy. He needs me the most. The twins have each other.
Whoa.
Like he really wants kids. And Bob has all those things that Teddy wants. So Teddy kind of fantasizes about being in Bob's shoes and having that perfect life that he dreams of. So it's not so much about Linda specifically, but more so about what she represents to him. A happy home life, something that Teddy does not have. But no matter what or why Teddy feels this way about Linda, it's still objectively wrong. There is no way to sugarcoat having a thing for your friend's wife. No matter how you try to frame it or justify it or spin it, flip it, reverse it, it's just still wrong. And a lot of people who don't like Teddy as a character will cite this obsession with Linda as a big reason. And honestly, it's not like they're wrong. I love Teddy, but you can love a character and see why people hate that character. And I definitely can understand anybody who doesn't like Teddy. I love him, but I mean, I have questionable taste anyway. But, you know, anybody who doesn't like him for reasons like this, I understand. In a lot of the episodes I talked about, he made Linda feel uncomfortable with his weird comments. Thankfully, this part of his personality doesn't really exist anymore in the new seasons. In recent years, there has been an attempt to expand Teddy's character. Instead of keeping him as the sad and pathetic man he was in the early seasons, they opted to give Teddy more of a life. He has had so much character growth, and you can tell the writers really care about his character. He's not just a joke anymore. Now he's a more fleshed out character. And his attempts of stealing Linda are no longer a thing. And hopefully it's going to stay that way. Anyways, I put Linda in his crush category because he never stood a chance with her to begin with. They don't have any romance between them. Linda is locked in as Linda Berger for life, and Teddy knew it. It was just a fantasy that he had to get over. I call that character growth, because there is a lot of shows who would have kept Teddy the same for seasons upon seasons upon seasons, and I admire that Bob's Burgers is a show that lets his characters grow and learn and change. They're not the same as they were in the early seasons, and I do think that that is a positive, because on the contrary, there are shows that's been on for many seasons and their characters has done nothing but regress. And I appreciate Bob's Burgers for letting Teddy grow and not keeping him stuck in an archetype. Now let's talk about the girls who were a bit more important to his love life, but weren't that substantial in the grand scheme of his life. These are the slightly more serious love interests that he has had in the show. Now let's start off with Gina. If you don't remember her, I don't blame you. She was only in one episode. Gina was one of the girls that participated in the speed dating event Linda was hosting. Teddy was a bit nervous throughout this entire event.
I'm Teddy, like Linda said earlier. What do we talk about?
I don't know.
What do we talk about?
They talk about their favorite foods.
Favorite food! Go!
Soy sauce.
Wax lips?
Plain white rice.
Fried green tomato.
They talk about their favorite lovemaking positions.
And go!
The fried green tomato.
The pick and roll.
The broken sprinkler.
Chitty chitty bang bang. The sticky wicket.
And we also learned some not so great things. We learned about why Teddy likes yo-yos.
I like to play with a yo-yo, so something comes back to me.
We also learned about Gina's, medical issues.
Hello? I've had a yeast infection for 10 years.
Stop! Oh, Gina, no! Ugh.
The fact that that girl's been baking bread in her underwear for 10 years is diabolical work. Girl, please. We also learned that Teddy sleeps dressed as Santa for some reason. Gina was disturbed by this information and judged Teddy, but Teddy clocked her tea right back.
I dress up as Santa every night. It's the only way I can go to sleep. What, Miss 10-year yeast infection? See a doctor, why don't you?
Though to Teddy's credit, he has stopped dressing as Santa to go to sleep, so his therapy must be working on some level. And as a little bonus, at the end of the episode, Gina actually gave Teddy her number, surprisingly, but she didn't want to know any more dark secrets about him.
So that stuff you said earlier, that's the worst about you?
Yup, that's it. Oh, except for one time when I was...
Don't say it. Here's my number.
And that's all we've seen of Gina. Next, Caroline. Caroline isn't someone we've seen much of at all. All we know about her is that she had a date with Teddy and invited him out on a second date. This was the first time in a long time he was invited out on a second date, so he was nervous. He didn't want to mess it up. The problem was he was invited out for sushi, and Teddy hates sushi. He lied to her about liking it, so now he has to choke on his disgusting lies. His words.
I hate sushi, but Caroline loves sushi. So I said, hey, I love sushi too. And now I gotta sit across from her and choke on my disgusting lies.
And if you ask why doesn't he just order something else besides sushi, well, Mort tried that.
Why don't you just get the chicken teriyaki?
Why don't you just get the chicken teriyaki, Mort?
So Linda decided to help him by doing exposure therapy. She and a few other random customers ordered sushi so that Teddy would try it.
Oh my God, this is happening.
Can I get a spicy tuna roll?
Can I get a California inside-out roll, please?
Hold on. Let me get a pencil. Should we just be a sushi restaurant? Don't tell Bob. We'll see if he notices.
Teddy was being difficult, to say the least.
I gotta put ketchup on it.
No, Teddy, no.
He then accidentally ate wasabi, and of course that did not go well at all.
Oh, hold on. Here's the guacamole. It's that stuff again.
I gotta go, Bob. I gotta go. Have fun with Edith. Goodbye. Oh, my face.
Towards the end, we got to actually see him go on the second date. He did not eat the sushi. Instead, he just threw it in the most obvious way possible. And I don't think that he got a third date after that. Like, you're a grown man throwing sushi. Of course he didn't get a third date. Janine is another person Teddy has shown interest in. It started off as a business relationship. Teddy accidentally fell in her store and got a bit injured.
Oh, that's kind of lucky. Soft erases.
They were on a glass shelf.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so that broke. And under that were X-Acto knives.
Point it up.
Oh.
But Teddy wasn't too hung up on his bleeding body. Instead, he said the phrase,
So I was lying there bleeding somewhat heavily, and I said to myself, shake it off. Today is tomorrow's yesterday.
And I said, hey, Shakespeare, that would go great on a poster.
Janine liked this and they decided to do a poster business together. Janine would provide the pictures and Teddy would provide the quotes to go on the posters. This wasn't a relationship or anything. Teddy just liked her and continuously tried to flirt with her and push for more. But Janine was firm in her boundaries and politely rejected him multiple times.
You up for this, partner?
Still not romantic partners, I assume?
No.
I'm in anyway. People change.
This was one of those times where Teddy was refusing to take a hint, though eventually he did give up thankfully. We actually see Janine a couple times in the show. She owns her own business. She hosted the local club for businesswomen that Linda was a part of. She actually does a lot of good work for the community. I like Janine even if we don't see her much in the show. Next is Helen. Now, I don't want to get too much into Helen because I want her to have her own video eventually. This lady is so mysterious and funny and mean. Not to mention she may or may not be a Black Widow, but that's besides the point. Helen is a rich lady who owns a beach house, and naturally Teddy does work for her on occasion. Teddy has a big crush on her, probably one of the biggest crushes he's had in the show. Now, Linda believes that Helen killed her husband for his clock fortune, but Teddy doesn't believe that at all. He views her like a saint.
She's definitely not a killer. She's really the sweetest little thing. She's not little. She's regular sized. Just talking about her gets me all frazzled.
She in fact wasn't the sweetest little thing. Helen is low-key a bad person and possibly a murderer. But of course, Teddy is delusional about her real personality. Teddy romanticizes most of their interactions and developed a big crush on her.
Helen, the wife, she's a doll. Nicest woman in the world. Poor thing witnessed the fall from the rose garden.
Teddy straight up denies Helen could have killed her husband and didn't believe Linda's theory at all. In fairness, Bob also didn't believe in the theory either. Both of them believed it was just a freak accident. The guy fell from a roof by a loose railing, so it was a plausible story. Besides, according to Teddy, he believed that he was hired because she was lonely after her husband died and wanted some company. He denies this crush, but it's so painfully obvious.
Sometimes we have tea on the deck and just talk for what feels like minutes.
Bob thought Helen was a good match for Teddy, mainly because she's nice and lonely, and according to Bob, he should date anyone who likes him.
Teddy should date anyone that likes him, basically.
Anyone except someone who's gonna murder him.
But maybe even that's okay.
Now, Helen is a bit off, to say the least.
You take your dirty children and get the hell out! I'm kidding!
On the surface, Helen is nice enough. She welcomes them in from the storm. She gives Bob drugs. She makes them all hot cocoa and jokes around with them. But you can tell that there's something that's not quite right about her. Teddy is fooled by her persona and thinks that there's a possibility that she may like him. Why? Because she's nice to him. And that's all it takes for Teddy. What's funny is that Gene was not a fan of Helen at all. It has nothing to do with the video, but I found it very funny.
She's nice. You think she likes me?
I'm not really a fair judge since she wasn't too helpful with the car snack.
Mini marshmallows would be nice right now, but I don't have any.
You have a car.
Anyways, it's very subtle, but there is a slight hint of apathy when she talks about her dead husband.
Helen, Sorry to hear about your late husband.
Oh, yes. He was a good man. Good.
She makes me uncomfortable. Just the look on her face when she thought Linda suspected her of murder was creepy. I don't care what anyone says, she did it.
Linda, I insist. And I always get my way. I'm very pushy. Linda.
Dad! Oh, I didn't see you there!
Because I snuck up on you. Come, take a walk with me.
Teddy had fantasies about Helen. Teddy thought up a fantasy where he spent the night at her house, and it was a very detailed fantasy.
In the bed with you. Okay. Spooning. Sure. You want to be the big spoon? You want me to be the big spoon.
When Helen heard of Linda's suspicions, she was obviously upset. She took it upon herself to try to explain to Linda and convince her of her innocence. Even though she didn't admit to having anything to do with his death, she did admit to having some resentment.
I didn't kill him. Okay, I thought about killing him. Who hasn't? But I didn't. I couldn't. Okay, I could, but I didn't.
Linda almost fell, Helen saved her, and everyone believed Helen's story now. Teddy, being the loyal defender he is, defended her character the whole time.
Interesting collarbones and a perfect forehead, and I didn't mean to say all that.
Poor Teddy did take a nasty fall off the roof, but it's okay because he's fine. He is a very sturdy guy. Helen did end up complimenting him back in a very strange way, making it seem like he had a bit of a chance with her.
And if you ever took off that hat, I bet you've got a forehead that goes all the way back.
So sweet.
And once everybody went inside, Bob finds the secret tool she had hidden inside the yard. Bob was higher than a kite and thought she hid the tools because she wanted to have an excuse to invite Teddy over.
Didn't want Teddy to think you had tools, so he'd come over and fix stuff.
Right.
Yeah, she definitely did that shit. She did it. In fairness, from Teddy's point of view, she does seem nice, especially in her first appearance. It's just we as the audience see the tools that she kept in the yard, the crazy stare she has as she watched them drive away, and just her overall serial killery vibe. Linda in the end did try to set up a date between her and Teddy, and of course Teddy was excited over it.
You and Teddy come by and have dinner at the restaurant on us.
What?
Well, I'd like that very much.
But I doubt she actually went on that date. There was a cute little moment of them dancing at the end credits with Teddy singing about his love for her. It's cute, but I fear for his life. The next episode we see her is actually 4 seasons later in the episode Helen Hunt. In the first episode she was in, there was some kindness between her and Teddy, even if it was fake. In her second appearance, she became way more apathetic to Teddy and dropped the nice girl persona she had in her introduction episode. In Helen Hunt, Teddy is still working for Helen in her beachside house. Lately, she's been working with him a lot. Teddy has been enjoying it because he gets to spend time with her and be around her. It's clear that he still has a massive thing for her.
Baby, I mean, she's so,
Teddy doesn't want to ask her out though because he doesn't believe a nice lady like her would go out with a guy like him. Linda tried to encourage him in one of the funniest backhand compliments I've heard in a while.
Sure, she's gorgeous and rich, and why would she go out with you? But also, why not you, right? Why can't you be Cinderella?
Teddy-rella.
Helen's job for him this time was unusual. For 3 days, she had him looking in chimneys and air ducts because she was trying to find a valuable object her late husband left behind.
Helen thinks her late husband Larry, who she definitely didn't kill, hid something valuable from her.
Did she know you describe her that way?
Larry had an apartment building called the Dumont that he used to own before he died. It was a weird, rundown place, but according to Teddy, it had charm. Teddy would work there on jobs from time to time. Linda and Louise thought the apartment would be a good place to look for the figurine. Linda wanted to encourage Teddy to find it for Helen and surprise her with it. They thought it would win him some cool points.
Are you kidding me? You'd be a Prince Charming. It's a friggin' fairy tale.
Wait, I thought he was Cinderella. Now he's a prince?
He can be both, Bob.
So the Belchers head off to the apartments to help him find the snail figure to impress Helen and make love happen. To get into people's apartments, they pretend to be maintenance people, checking air vents and stuff. This is also where we meet Kathleen, who we will circle back to and explore in a minute. But this is her introduction episode. When they first came in and pretended to be a crew who fixes stuff, Kathleen didn't really believe them, but she agreed to let them in after a very convincing argument.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
You sure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure, why not? Come in.
Kathleen actually remembered Teddy from a time that he swapped out her fridge a few months back. She even remembered that he had back problems, and she asked how he was. They even started to joke around casually about it.
I thought it was going to snap like a wishbone.
Haha, my wish would have been that I didn't have a herniated disc.
Would you rather have a hisniated disc?
Hisniated.
They were so cute. Instantly, you could feel the chemistry between them. And ironically, this is the most natural interaction he's had with a woman in the entire series. This is the first time he was just being himself.
I'm Kathleen, by the way.
Me too, yeah. No. You're Kathleen. I'm Teddy.
Tina, of course, spotted the chemistry right away. She is our resident lover girl, after all. While most people find him annoying, she thinks he's charming.
What sport are you watching here? What is this, grass hockey or something? People polo?
People polo? No, it's hurling.
This is when Kathleen introduces him to curling, one of her passions that comes up later in the series. This whole episode, Linda and Tina were on opposite sides of a Cold War. Tina wanted Teddy and Kathleen to get together, but Linda was caping for Teddy and Helen. This entire episode was a shipping war, and it's so funny to witness. Helen does arrive at this apartment coincidentally to also look for the Netsuke. She was low-key not happy to see the Belchers or Teddy.
I was looking for that thing of Larry's, and these Belchers were helping me.
Well, that's fun that you shared that information with so many people.
Do you see what I mean? That charm she had in the first episode, gone. She didn't want that information out to so many people, so she was irritated. It was pretty clear that she was looking to gain a nice, pretty penny from this thing, but she was pretending like she wanted it for sentimental reasons.
This thing has a lot of sentimental value for me. Maybe actual value, who knows?
In this episode, she was notably more colder. In her first episode, she played the perfect hostess. In this episode, she was way less concerned with making herself look like a saint. Kathleen met Helen briefly in the hall and expressed her sympathy for her losing her husband. You see, Kathleen is also a widow, so she could relate to her. Though I'm not sure Helen felt the same way.
I'm so sorry. Losing a husband really sucks. I know. I lost one myself.
Yeah, it's rough. It's really, really rough stuff. Who's this?
Kathleen also told Helen that Larry had an apartment there in 1B. Helen was unaware of and totally cool about that.
That son of a bitch had a secret man cave.
Tina asked Kathleen in a very subtle way, how long ago did her husband pass away?
How long ago did your husband pass away? Appropriate time to start dating again ago?
Smooth tea, perfect.
We find out that her husband died 8 years ago. He was hit by a train, which is ironic because the guy loved trains, so fitting death, I guess. Teddy expressed his condolences for Kathleen, but she seemed at peace with it now. Later on, Kathleen invited the girls in for cold pasta after Tina not so subtly dropped by. Tina then asked Kathleen what she likes in a guy. Kathleen likes guys who are kind, strong, and smart.
I like guys that are kind.
Check.
And strong.
Super check. Hey, Teddy, we need you down in 1A, buddy.
And brilliant. I wouldn't kick brilliant out of bed for farting up the sheets.
Brilliant. Still come on down, Teddy.
Linda was still trying to set Teddy and Kathleen up, but Helen was not interested at all. You could tell by her face that his mere presence was infuriating her.
Nothing. We're just venting. I've been waiting a long time to say that.
Totally worth it.
Okay, we can laugh and look.
Meanwhile, Tina tried to get Teddy and Kathleen to look into each other's eyes to hopefully spark a connection, but they were just confused.
And they're kind of bloodshot. What am I looking for?
I have been welding without a mask.
Teddy, look into Kathleen's eyes deeply.
Wait, who's got something in their eye?
Tina even went as far as literally trying to push them together. So yeah, the matchmaking attempts did not work well for Tina or Linda. They did end up finding the snail thing in a dummy pipe, but Linda accidentally dropped it on top of an elevator. Linda was going to go in and get it, but Teddy stopped her and volunteered to do it instead. But unfortunately for him, that didn't go well, and he ended up dangling for his life. Everyone was rightfully worried about Teddy and freaking out about him being stuck and nearly dropping. Everyone was worried except for Helen. All she heard was that he found the Netsuke.
You found the Netsuke? I'll be right up.
While Kathleen and others were making a plan to help Teddy not die a Final Destination death, Helen wanted to know where the Netsuke was.
So, where's the Netsuke now?
Helen! Hi!
Also, speaking of Final Destination, did y'all see that trailer? Absolutely not. Final Destination is like one of those movies I watched as a kid. My favorite's Freddy Krueger, but I also like the Scream and Chucky franchises too. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is I also grew up with Final Destination because my mom loves horror movies and she loved Final Destination. There used to be a bonus feature on one of the Final Destination DVDs. I think it was the Final Destination 3 possibly. I think it was the one with the tanning beds. You can actually in the DVD controlled choices, and your choices affect which character dies. It was like a little game inside the DVD. It was actually insane, and that traumatized me because I accidentally killed several people. That's why I will never ever go into a tanning bed, drive behind a log truck, or nothing. And this newfound destination, like, they're going to traumatize a new generation of children. And actually, I'm already traumatized by the trailer. Like, I do not want to go to no summer barbecues. Absolutely not. Y'all can keep that. Y'all can keep the ice. Y'all can keep the lawnmower. I don't want any part of it. Nuh-uh. Anyways, back to the script. They were trying to help Teddy. They were able to manually get the elevator working and turned it on, but in doing so, the figurine was put in danger and Helen couldn't have that.
But there's a chance he might not fall, and that's just a risk we'll have to take.
What?
Don't say it like that. He'll be fine. Maybe.
And this is when Linda realized that Helen sucks. Obviously, they ignored Helen and did what they had to do to help Teddy. They saved him and everyone was relieved that he was okay, especially little Miss Helen.
Cool. Glad you're okay, Teddy. That's good. Well, gotta go, you guys. You know, maybe to an auction house, maybe not. Who knows how late they're even open.
But if you feel some type of way about that, do not worry, justice was served. Helen fell down a loose board and cracked her little figurine, so no money for her.
Ah! Ah, son of a bitch! It broke! Stupid cat! Stupid snail! Stupid dead Larry!
Keep in touch.
I mean, she's evil, but she cracks me up. Linda did eventually end up apologizing to Teddy for almost getting him killed in the name of matchmaking. Teddy forgives them and knew that they were just trying to help him. And now Linda has officially transferred from Team Helen over to Team Kathleen.
Maybe he's supposed to end up with a nice princess in sweatpants.
Wait, what's going on?
Seeing her switch teams made me laugh because people have said that I have convinced them to jump the Jimmy Jr. ship and go over to the Zeke ship. I have definitely encouraged ship changes, and you know what? I'm proud of that. Zeke, Tina forever, I don't care. Anyways, that was understandably the last time we've seen Helen, but it wouldn't surprise me if she pops up again in the future. Anyways, those were some of Teddy's most prominent crushes in this show. Most of them didn't work out well or didn't really start at all. Most of them were simply not interested in Teddy, or if they were, he would scare them off with his weird tendencies. Most of these situations were not that serious. The only two women that really caught my attention were his attraction to manipulative women like Helen and Denise. With those two, he couldn't see them for who they were. Bad people. What's that one BoJack Horseman quote?
When you look at someone through rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags.
That's exactly how Teddy views the women he likes. Rose-colored glasses. And that keeps him from seeing who they are truly as a person. Instead, Teddy puts the women he likes on a pedestal that they can't possibly live up to realistically. And in turn, he puts himself down and thinks that he's not good enough to be in their presence. So simultaneously, he idolizes the women that he likes and accidentally dehumanizes them by not seeing or treating them as normal people. When someone puts you on a pedestal, they don't see who you truly are as a whole person. They overinflate the good while also ignoring anything that could suggest otherwise. And no person's perfect. Everyone's made up of a little good, a little bad. Some people may have more good, some people may have more bad, but ultimately there is good and bad in everyone. And it may sound nice to be put on a pedestal on paper, but it's really not. When you're on that pedestal, you are expected to be perfect and never make mistakes or never have a bad day, which are things that everybody goes through. Everybody makes mistakes, everybody has those days. Putting someone on a pedestal creates unrealistic expectations of that person and the relationship as a whole. And in Teddy's case, he never truly understood those women he liked because he didn't actually know them. You can't genuinely form an authentic relationship with someone that you think is above you. Teddy can't genuinely connect to women if he has an angelic, godlike view of them. The best relationships comes from those who love your good side and understand your flaws as well. Not excuse, but understand. But Teddy just ignores the flaws and treats them like saints. And if someone can't understand and empathize with your flaws, then they can never fully understand you as a human being. In those rose-colored glasses relationships, there is a natural distance between the two people. Teddy was also hurting himself in this process as well. This line of thinking creates opportunity for manipulation. Helen and Denise were prime examples of him worshipping women who actively took advantage of the way he saw them. Helen used Teddy for all he was worth and then literally left him to die after he spent days trying to help her. Denise used Teddy's naive nature against him and would make him do things he otherwise wouldn't do. And Denise knew if she told him to go outside and eat in his car alone, he would do it because she said so, and he couldn't say no. He had no boundaries with her, or anyone really, and she took advantage of that. And according to Teddy, who is he to defy his goddess Denise? Because of his low self-esteem, combined with his eagerness to keep him happy and his lack of boundaries, he was constantly taken advantage of, and in the case with Denise, he was actively abused. This is why having friends like Bob and Linda were essential for Teddy. They help him have some level of discernment and in a way protect him from himself. Bob is very anti-Denise for obvious reasons. He may get annoyed with Teddy, but he doesn't want to see him fall back into a relationship with a woman who would mistreat him. When Teddy is going overboard in his attempt to flirt, Bob tries to keep Teddy from embarrassing himself or keep him from making women uncomfortable. Bob is important because he tries to provide Teddy with some level of self-awareness, because mainly Teddy has none.
Bye, Ange. We'll see you later. Take it easy. She's amazing. Did I play it cool?
No, I could hear you breathing the whole time,
Yeah,
like heavily breathing.
Teddy is either oblivious to how weird he's coming off or extremely hard on himself. There's not much in between when it comes to Teddy. Bob is there to provide that balance that Teddy lacks. Linda is Teddy's wingwoman. Linda is optimistic and she loves love. She often helps him by setting him up on dates or trying to talk him up to women. But sometimes she does more harm than good.
And, you know who's never had an STD? Teddy, pretty sure.
Not really listening, but
He was in the Navy,
Uh-huh.
but,
Linda tends to go overboard sometimes, like the Denise episode or the speed dating incident, but her heart is always in the right place. She was on Team Helen because she wanted Teddy to have his own Cinderella story by being whisked away by a rich lady. But once Helen turned on him, she realized that she was a jerk, and instead she shifted to Team Kathleen with Tina. Speaking of Kathleen, let's finally talk about this sweet Irish lady next door. Now, if there was a woman that deserved all the princess treatment in the world, it's this sweetheart of a woman, Kathleen. Kathleen is Teddy's current partner. They had a very slow burn but sweet journey that has blossomed as the seasons went on. Unlike most of the women that he likes, he wasn't originally looking for Kathleen. They had a friendly, casual relationship at first, but as time went on, a romance started to form out of their friendship. So let's walk through their relationship journey together to see how they ended up where they ended up. Obviously, Helen Hunt was her first episode, but the next time we see Kathleen is in season 10, episode 9, in the episode All That Gene. We did talk about this episode before in my Mr. Ambrose video, but we mostly covered the Gene and Mr. Ambrose stuff. This is also the episode where the love story of Teddy and Kathleen officially begun. In Helen Hunt, there was chemistry, but it was mostly just friendly banter. In this episode, things changed quite a bit. The episode starts off with Teddy eating at Bob's Burgers, but things are a bit different with him. He's eating a bit less, he's wearing cologne, two things Teddy does not normally do.
Teddy, do you want fries with that?
No thanks. Trying to stay slim.
Really? I mean, right, sure.
Linda is suspicious and asks Teddy if there was a special reason these things are happening. Teddy denies this at first, but then eventually admits to it.
What? No. Okay, yes. Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time around Kathleen lately.
Teddy has been spending a lot of time with Kathleen and has now seemed to have developed a crush on her. Kathleen got a new job working as an accountant at a local theater company, and she asked Teddy to help build the old set. Later on, Teddy and Linda go to talk to Kathleen backstage. It's not like in Helen Hunt where he was able to talk to her normally. This time he was noticeably nervous to talk to her now.
Oh, hey, Teddy. Did you bring some friends?
Kathleen, hi. Hi. Hey. You remember Linda and Gene Berger?
Linda makes small talk with Kathleen and congratulates her on her new job. Kathleen, being the comedian she is, cracks a couple of cute mom jokes. But Teddy kind of makes it awkward with his intense laughing.
Sorry.
Not much cash flow, though. I don't even need a calculator. This is a fingers-only kind of deal.
Easy, Teddy.
But what else is new with Teddy? Later on in the episode, Linda was backstage joking around with Kathleen. But when she sees she's on the phone, she apologizes for interrupting her. But it turns out it was just Teddy who was calling her from like 5 feet away.
It's okay. It's just Teddy. He's calling from, I guess, right behind you. Yeah, there he is.
Hi.
Then poor Teddy missed up his chance to ask her out. But luckily for him, Kathleen does not seem to mind how weird he is, because he definitely is very weird.
I'm going home to poop. I'm going home to get a coffee. Wanted to see if you... Damn it! Stupid!
The next time we hear about the relationship was in the episode Finger Loose. It was a brief interaction and Kathleen wasn't even in the episode, but I'm bringing it up because an important step happened in this episode. Kathleen invited Teddy out to the movies. It seems our girl was tired of him fumbling around and asked him out instead. Teddy was happy, but at the same time he was freaking out. You see, she could only get tickets at 5:30, which to him is dinner time. To me, that's second lunchtime, but not exactly dinner, but that's besides the point. Different strokes, I guess. Anyways, Teddy was going to bring a couple of burgers from Bob's Burgers, but he has trouble sneaking in food to the movie theater.
You aren't allowed to bring outside food into the theater.
Sorry.
But now Teddy needs to find a way to sneak in food. To him, it can make or break the relationship, which of course is ridiculous, but it's Teddy, so whatever. So Linda offered to help him come up with a way to sneak food in the theater. Should've asked Granddad from the Boondocks.
It's pinto beans and neck bones. Now put this meatloaf and gravy under your shirt.
Why don't we just get treats from the concession stand?
He snuck in a whole ass dinner. Linda and Bob spent the rest of the episode coming up with ideas for his dilemma and of course competing to see who has the best idea. Linda suggested armpit nets and Bob suggested a complicated vest contraption. Seeing how bad these ideas are, Teddy thought maybe he should just get an extra large popcorn to split instead. Bob and Linda push him to make a choice between the two and he freaks out and runs away.
Take it, Teddy. Teddy, take this.
You know I can't handle when two people talk to me.
And that was the end of that. In case you were wondering, they both tried it out later and neither one's ideas really worked. The next relationship update we get is in the Comedy of Errors episode. Kathleen was again not in this episode, but we get another life update from Teddy. As we talked about earlier, Teddy is a superstitious person. We already talked about how when he was in his early 20s, he went to go watch Kirby's Comet. But because he stepped on a nail, he believed that he was cursed to have bad luck for the next 30 years.
And I was really excited. It felt important. It felt big, like it was gonna show me something about my life or the world or something. And then I stepped on a nail, a big rusty nail.
And in this episode, the comet returns. Teddy did ask Kathleen to come watch with him, but she was busy.
I asked Kathleen if she wanted to go, but she can't make it. She's visiting her aunt.
She has an aunt? She's the total package.
I know.
So she was unable to make it. Teddy has been looking forward to this night for years. Teddy views this night as the night to look for signs on how the next 30 years will go. After all, he has had bad luck up until this point.
And then from there, I lost my hair and I gained weight. I got divorced. I gained more weight. And I stepped on a lot more nails over the years and other pointy things.
He believes he's cursed. But Bob brings up that most of that is due to aging, marrying the wrong person, and being clumsy. But Teddy insisted it was a curse. At the event, Teddy was hoping for a good result with the comet. He also mentioned that Kathleen has invited him on a hike soon, so he already has another date planned with her for when she gets back. But Teddy is nervous about this. To him, it's a big step to go on a hiking trip with someone, and he's worried that he messed it up. Bob and Linda try to encourage him to go anyways and remind him of how great Kathleen is. But Teddy is still unsure and wanted to wait to see what the comet wanted him to do. Teddy needs a message from the universe to offer reassurance to him, even though Bob thinks it's stupid. Normally, Bob would just ignore Teddy's antics, but Teddy decided that if he gets a bad sign today, not only will he cancel his plans with Kathleen, but he will also possibly stop seeing her.
I don't know, maybe I won't go to the gorge with Kathleen, and maybe not see her anymore. It wouldn't be right to drag her down with my bad next 30 years.
Now, while I get the paranoia, it was so stupid. If I heard someone was going to break up with me because a comet told him to, then they wouldn't have to worry about me no more. I'd be gone faster than the damn comet itself. It is so dumb, but it doesn't matter how dumb it is. Teddy believes in it and he's probably going to do it. So to prevent Teddy from doing something so incredibly stupid, Linda decided it would be best to meddle. something that she does best. She tasks Bob with making sure that he only sees good signs today, so he doesn't go and ruin his life for no good reason. Bob, of course, didn't really want to do it. He planned on just sitting and relaxing that night, but if he didn't do it, he'd have to deal with sad Teddy for the next 30 years. So he begrudgingly decided to help. So for the whole episode, they try to prevent Teddy from seeing anything bad. Well, Bob does. Linda goes on a quest to find kettle corn and gets distracted, so it's all up to Bob. But because of Teddy's clumsiness, he keeps making his own bad signs, like swallowing a bug, tripping, blinding a bunch of old senior citizens, and nearly getting decked in the face by Edith.
It was adjusted perfectly, you son of a bitch!
It's not worth it!
Oh god.
Edith was not happy at all. Teddy took all of this as a for sure sign that his next 30 years will suck. So he pulls out his phone and decides to break things off with Kathleen and let her down gently. Bob was not going to let that happen, and they ended up fighting on the beach for the phone. Luckily, Bob ends up deleting the voicemail before Teddy could send it. Teddy, being sad, decides to go dunk himself in the ocean in hopes of purifying his spirit. Then maybe he'll get a redo on his bad luck. Bob tries to stop him because it's dark, freezing, and overall dangerous, and poor Bob had to go in after him.
Teddy!
Of course, by now, Bob is fed up with Teddy and his signs. He went off on Teddy and told him that his life doesn't suck because of a comet. It sucked because of both his own bad decisions and just life not being good sometimes.
The universe doesn't talk. You have control over your life. And if your last 30 years were bad, it wasn't because of a nail you stepped on or some comet. It was because of you.
Bob went on to say that ultimately you make your own decisions in life, good and bad, but at the end of the day, they are your mistakes. And we all have to deal with our own decisions.
That's not true!
It is true. We make decisions and they're either good or bad, and we have luck or we don't, and we deal with it.
Lastly, Bob told Teddy that it would be a dumb decision to stop seeing Kathleen over superstitious beliefs. Teddy, of course, took all of that very personally and storms off.
Well, I wouldn't want Kathleen to end up with someone who makes all the wrong decisions like I do, apparently. That would be dumb.
While pulling himself out of the ocean, Bob comes across a seal that just stares at him. At first he thought this was weird, but then thought maybe this is one of those signs Teddy kept yapping about. He asked the seal if Teddy was going to be okay, and the seal confirmed by staring. He didn't talk, he just stared. He also asked if his family and his restaurant was going to be okay, and again the seal just stares at him. He took that as confirmation before saying goodbye to the mystic seal.
This is incredible. This has never happened to me before. Oh, you're swimming away. Okay. Bye, seal. I'll go tell Teddy.
Bob goes to Teddy and tells him what he saw. Teddy was still upset, obviously, about being told that his life is ultimately his fault. Bob told him to listen and explains what happened with the seal having a conversation with him. Bob tells Teddy how this has changed his mind and that maybe there are signs in the universe trying to tell him things. He reassured to Teddy that he definitely got a good sign. Bob was definitely a true believer now.
Wait, sealant, you know? Sealant goes on the countertops. That's why it was a seal.
Seems like kind of a stretch, Bob.
What?
Teddy gets out his very wet phone and see if it still works. Luckily it did, and he was able to give Kathleen a call.
Hello? Kathleen? It's Teddy from dating?
A happy ending. Because if Teddy would have broken up with Kathleen, he would have had to see me. Oh, he would hate to see me coming. Bell to As, that's all I'm saying. The next time we actually get to see Kathleen is in the show and tell episode of season 13, episode 5. Teddy tells Bob about Kathleen's love of hurling, a sport that is popular in Ireland. Teddy seems very confused about what the sport actually is, but insisted that he loves it, even though it's clear to anyone that he does not.
They have a ball instead of a puck, and then you can pick up the ball, I think. It's a little confusing, but I love it.
Sounds like you do.
Unfortunately, the place where she usually watches the game is closing.
The owner's moving back to Ireland to start an American bar.
Okay.
So, Teddy decided to invite her to watch the game at Bob's Burgers. The thing is, hurling isn't on regular TV because it's obviously a foreign sport. So Teddy wanted to rig up a computer and a projector here for her to watch it on. Linda thought the gesture was sweet, but Bob was a bit annoyed with Teddy volunteering his restaurant for his antics. Teddy explains that since Kathleen likes curling, he's going to like it because it's important for couples to have the same hobbies. Unlike his marriage with Denise, where he had nothing in common with her.
Denise and I had nothing in common. Her favorite thing was going on trips by herself and not telling me when or where she was going, and mine was just sitting at home, rocking back and forth a little and saying, we're still in love.
You know what? I think I changed my mind. I think Teddy actually is cursed. The Belchers eventually agree, and Teddy sets up the screen, and of course is in the most inconvenient way possible. The funniest part is that he didn't even ask to do this the entire time. He kind of just announced it and just did it. And not only did he set up the screen like that, but he also hung up a ton of curling signs all over the restaurant. He got up early to print a bunch of them and doesn't even know what most of them mean. He also invited a random group of hurling enthusiasts online to watch the game there as well. As usual, Teddy is overdoing it and is kinda out of his depth. It's clear Teddy has no idea what's going on. He didn't even know which team was which.
Waterford or Tipperary?
Can't you tell by what we're wearing?
It's obviously Waterford.
Tipperary!
Of course, because those are the colors that Tipperary wears. This guy didn't know that, but I do.
What?
Kathleen soon shows up and was surprised by how decorated it was.
Look at all this.
It's fun, right? Welcome to the hurling zone. Do you like the banners?
Yeah.
I don't think it's too many.
No.
I think it's the right amount of banners.
Luckily for Teddy, Kathleen doesn't seem to be put off by this. She kind of just joked around as usual.
Do you know them?
It's a pretty big country, Teddy. Oh, wait, that's my dad.
What?
I'm kidding.
Right.
Could be a cousin, though.
Kathleen asked if Bob and Linda were into the sport, and they said they were just trying it out today. Bob complained a bit about the projector, but that's besides the point. Kathleen took a seat with Teddy and watched the game with him. Kathleen just chills and watches the game, but Teddy is internally freaking out and acting weird.
Look at him do what they're doing. I mean, I knew I was going to see some hurling, but I didn't know I was going to see hurling.
Yeah.
Teddy tries the whole episode to impress her with his non-existent dedication to hurling. He even pretended that he liked hurling better than hockey, which is obviously not true. Teddy loves hockey. He even joined a Jewish hockey team, and he's not Jewish. They don't know that. It's called the Mighty Schmucks, so yeah. This is a great example of when I said that Teddy tries to change himself into what he thinks a woman wants to be. Anyways, the random group ends up leaving because it's hard to hear and see the game, so they decided to watch it at home. Teddy was obviously freaking out that everything was falling apart. The group left, the screen fell, and he kept saying the wrong things. He thought Kathleen was having a horrible time because things weren't going as planned.
Wait, don't you leave too. I'll get better at hurling watching. I'll learn to love it, and then we can have the same hobbies, and it'll be great.
I was just getting up to get more napkins, Teddy.
Oh, good.
Kathleen then decides that it's time to talk to Teddy. She gently suggests that maybe he's trying too hard for them to like the same things. Teddy asks, isn't that what people do when they like someone? After all, he was in a relationship with someone who didn't have the same interests, and according to Teddy,
in the past, I've spent time with people where we had none of the same interests, and it didn't end great, because we got divorced.
Which is fair enough. Kathleen, being a saint, patiently explains to Teddy that she thinks it's okay to have different interests.
Teddy, I think it's fine we have different interests. I like learning what different stuff you like. And I already know about what stuff I like. I don't even like some of the stuff I like.
It's kind of funny that in the middle of this very sweet, reassuring conversation, we see Bob and Linda struggling for their lives in the background to get that screen up. I know it's not the focus of the video, but it made me laugh quite a bit. Anyways, Teddy asks if it was okay that he doesn't like hurling very much.
So it's okay that I don't like hurling very much at all? And I can't seem to follow it for some reason, and it makes me angry?
Of course it is. You're not Irish. We legally have to like it.
Kathleen reassures him, then got a second opinion from Bob and Linda. She asks Linda if her and Bob like the same things, and of course, Linda says no, of course they don't. Linda says she likes cool stuff, and Bob likes building airplane models.
See? You big stupid dummy.
So I get to keep all my hockey embroidery art from Etsy?
Hell no.
Okay.
Teddy, of course you can.
Oh, thank God.
Kathleen then offers to just not watch the rest of the game, which is a big deal to sports fans.
You know, we don't have to watch the second half, Teddy. It's just a beautiful game and kind of a metaphor for life.
But Teddy insisted on watching it anyways. It turns out that he actually kind of likes it.
Now that I'm not pretending to like it, I might actually like it. You like it because it doesn't make any sense, is that right?
I will stick this fork in you, Teddy.
All right. Teach me something.
And as a little bonus, at the end of the episode, we get them dancing together in the end credits, and it was very cute and very funny. The last time we see her as of me making this video was in the latest season. Teddy wanted to do a job early so he can pick Kathleen up from a colonoscopy. He viewed it as a big step in their relationship and didn't want to mess it up. So he cleaned his car, put pillows in the truck, got all of her favorite snacks like sunflower seeds and nuts, because she couldn't eat it for a couple days, so he thought it would be a nice treat for her. And on top of all that, he made a playlist for her that has songs like Long and Winded Road and Brown Eyed Girl on it. He wanted her to feel comfortable and was happy he was chosen to pick her up over her cousin and just wanted things to go well.
Take that, Cousin Muriel. I win, you lose. I've met her, by the way. She's very nice.
Unfortunately for Teddy, he ended up in the emergency room. But even so, Teddy was more worried about picking up Kathleen than himself. Teddy was in severe pain, but he still tried to find a way to get to her. In case you were wondering, Teddy went to the ER because, according to him, he bit his lip. How, well, a bee made his way into his goggles. He freaked out and shot himself in the foot with a nail gun.
It landed in my goggles, and then I put them on. It stung me on my eyelid. Then I kind of shot myself in the foot with the nail gun. And yeah, that's how I bit my lip.
Obviously, he couldn't drive, so Linda offered to pick up Kathleen, but Teddy insisted that he be the one to pick her up. So Teddy asked for Linda to pick him up to go pick up Kathleen. Linda agrees to help Teddy because she needed a break from Bob's hair obsession anyway.
Sure, you go help Teddy and Kathleen. My hair and I have got this.
Yeah, I could use a break from the hair. Teddy, Bob's hair is turning him into a monster.
A gorgeous monster.
This is like the second episode that Bob has had good hair, and each time he turns into a bit of a monster, and it's hilarious. Bob having good hair is a combination we don't need. Linda picks up Teddy, and they went to go switch over to his truck. Because 1, the Belcher's car is messy and has ants, and 2, all Kathleen's stuff is in his truck. They were already late, so Linda tried to go a bit faster on the road. Unfortunately, Teddy and Linda ended up getting pulled over by the police, though she was willing to speed off if it came to it.
No, we getting pulled over.
Do we gun it? Should I gun it? Should we go?
Linda, no.
Right.
The officer was going to write her up for speeding and all that until he heard they were picking someone up for a colonoscopy.
Oh, I know what it is. A colonoscopy saved my Nana's life, and I was the one who picked her up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's my best friend.
He decided to give him a police escort to the clinic. They were off and ready to go until Linda accidentally hit the policeman's car.
No, no, no! You hit me!
I'm sorry! Why did you stop?
There was a car in front of me! We're not supposed to smash into those!
Okay, that's a good reason.
She cannot stay out of trouble for 5 minutes. She really is Louise's mother, huh? Then another policeman came because he saw the whole thing. And the first policeman asked her to not mention to the second policeman about the police escort or he'll get in trouble. The cop basically told her to lie to another cop.
Oh my god, oh my god.
Just lie for me.
What? Lie to a cop?
It's fine. People do it all the time.
They went through a whole thing with the two cops, and Teddy decided to call Kathleen's cousin to pick her up instead. Obviously, he was very disappointed to do so. Linda reassured him that Kathleen would understand. Teddy knows that Kathleen would understand, but this meant a lot to him.
It's good for the heart to do nice stuff, and I felt lucky to have the chance to do it. I care about her a lot.
Say what you want about Teddy, but he really is a sweetheart when it counts. He does tend to think about others, and I think it's very nice that he tries to do nice things for people all the time. Like, he's always going the extra mile for people, even if sometimes it crosses boundaries. I do think that is very nice of Teddy to always put himself in inconvenient positions for other people. But he doesn't see it as an inconvenience. He sees it as just helping people that he loves. Whether it be the Belchers, Kathleen, his own mother, Teddy does overextend himself for everybody around him, and I feel like that's like a very sweet trait of Teddy's that doesn't get talked about enough, how much he does for other people. Almost to a point of doing it a little too much, but not in this case, obviously. Anyway, Teddy's a sweetie. Linda decides that she will find a way to make this work and told him to call off the cousin while she deals with 5-0. Linda explains the situation to the cops and gives a classic Linda Belcher speech about trust and kindness and all that jazz. The police actually decided to help, and they went to go get her. And Teddy left a very nice message for her cousin.
Hey, Muriel, this is Study from before. I'm back on track here, so do not pick up Kathleen. Do not pick her up, whatever you do. Okay, great, thanks again.
Teddy made it just in time for her to come out the clinic. She was rightfully confused at the amount of people he brought along with him to come get her at the clinic. And Teddy got out the car and wobbled over there to help her. And it was so cute.
Teddy, what happened to you?
Funny story. I'll tell you while we're driving. Well, Linda's driving.
Linda's driving?
Let me help you to the truck. Wait till you hear the mix I made you.
Lastly, we see them finally driving off while he feeds her snacks. And that is currently where we as the audience left them in the series. I swear, if they ruin this the way they ruined Ham and Crispin, I will fight the whole writing team. This relationship has been building for seasons and seasons and seasons on end in the background, and I need a Teddy wedding episode. Like, Bob's Burgers already kind of has a wedding episode, but it wasn't featuring any characters that we knew getting married, and I would love to have a wedding episode about characters we know. Preferably Teddy. Like, imagine an Irish handyman themed wedding. This would be the best catered wedding in history. Do you know how many food people Teddy knows? This could be the wedding of Wonder Wharf. He knows everybody. Everybody will be there. And if everyone's there, you know Mr. Fishover has to show up to probably play a tune. And if Mr. Fishover shows up, then his little brother's going to show up and probably do a little dance. Everything sounds so chaotic and perfect, and I need it now. I need the episode right now. Teddy deserves this. He deserves another nice marriage this time. Now, we don't know for sure where this relationship is going per se, but I sure hope that this is Teddy's last stop on the train wreck that's been his love life. Kathleen is a delight. She is funny, patient, kind, and is just a chill, cool person. I always thought Kathleen was a good person, but I was very excited when I realized that she can possibly be endgame for Teddy. After all, Teddy has been through it. I think he deserves to settle down with a nice woman like Kathleen and possibly have his own kids. Like, he deserves the life that he's been dreaming of. Teddy has been in therapy for years, working on himself for years, becoming a better, more stable person. And all he wants at the end of the day is to just have a family to call his own. And I think that these two are a great match for each other. And also, I want a wedding. I want a wedding. Give me a wedding. They be putting me through all these emotional episodes. Give me the one I want. Damn it. But in the next 2 seasons, y'all have 2 seasons to provide it. Two. That's the deadline. Teddy can go overboard and will often get overwhelmed or in his head. But Kathleen can be that calming spirit that he needs in his life. Usually it's Bob, but Kathleen also does the same thing for him. Kathleen is his Bob because Teddy and Linda are very, very similar. So it makes sense that he would need another Bob, which is basically Kathleen. Kathleen's a very chill, calming Irish lady who's dry and sarcastic and does puns. She's just like Bob. Teddy wasn't looking for Kathleen at first, and he wasn't trying to force a connection. They naturally developed one over time through genuine interactions. And once Teddy realized this, then he started to fumble around like a doofus. But Kathleen thinks his bumbling is charming, so she doesn't mind it. Most of his relationships have been chaotic in one way or another. Either they're a liar, a murderer, or in desperate need of antibiotics. But Kathleen is the one woman in this entire video who is just normal. There's no drama, no annoying misunderstandings, no toxicity, just a sweet, wholesome relationship that they both deserve. Especially with Kathleen being a widow herself, she also deserves a chance at having another marriage. I really love Kathleen, and I hope that she's someone who's here to stay as a character. Teddy could really use a break, and I'm happy the show is finally letting him win in his own life. Because let's be real, Teddy isn't that loner, desperate guy archetype, not anymore, but he used to be. And usually characters in this archetype are just alone forever, miserable forever, and they never really get a chance to kind of do better in life. They're always going to be stuck as lonely or desperate or sad. Think of characters like, I don't know, Bill from King of the Hill, Klaus from American Dad, or Tuttle from American Dad. That type of archetype of a character usually just stays alone and sad for most of their lives. But Teddy is the exception. He broke out of that stereotype. He broke out of that trope, and now he's able to better himself as a character and actually have character growth. Something that most animated shows are afraid of doing. They're afraid of changing the status quo. They're afraid of pushing their characters out of the comedy aspect. because they believe that if they change a character too much, they'll lose like what makes that character funny. And with Teddy, his desperation isn't the only thing that made him funny. Just being Teddy is enough for him to be funny. So they don't have to cling on to that sad persona that they did in the early seasons, because they're allowing him to grow as a person. Because Teddy is still Teddy. No matter if he's single or married or happy or sad, Teddy will be the most. Teddy will do the most. Teddy will always be funny. So Teddy doesn't have to stay stagnant as a character, because his character is enough within himself. Teddy doesn't have to stick to his archetype, and he doesn't have to stick to his trope, because the writers has done such a good job with making his character feel whole, that he doesn't need to be sad and desperate anymore. I'm just glad that he's allowed to grow and he's allowed to win. Because as someone who loves adult animation, one of my main annoyances is that most of those characters just don't change, or they just revert back to their normal status. For example, I love Archer, but oh my god, it feels like they don't learn anything. No matter how many seasons go on, they would do the same mistakes. They won't really grow as characters. They would change a little bit, but they'll just revert right back to their basic archetypes, even in the later seasons. Even after major events happen in Archer, life-changing events that should alter their character forever, they don't really change. And even though I love Archer, one of the main complaints I had is that none of the characters actually felt like they were evolving into a different person. Their early iterations of those characters pretty much feel the same as their later iterations of those characters. Well, as Bob's Burgers, the first season of Teddy and the 15th season of Teddy, totally different. Totally different. And that's what I love about this show. Growth, change, and creativity. Love it. Anyways, we'll see where this relationship goes from here, but hopefully it's just nowhere but clear skies after this. They deserve to be happy, and that's all I gotta say about that. Teddy has always had a hard time when it comes to romance. Teddy is a guy who, at the end of the day, just wants to be happy and have a family to call his own. Teddy wants the love and companionship that Bob and Linda have. To be married with kids is a dream that Teddy has always had for himself. But due to bad luck and his horrible taste in women, he hasn't been able to achieve this happy life he dreamed of for himself. Teddy came from an unhappy and dysfunctional home, and for a long time he replicated that in his romantic relationships. The beach girl seemed to be the first step to a long list of rejections. There is a lot of reasons Teddy had a hard time finding a partner. Women don't tend to like him because he's often pushy, desperate, or talks too much. Some people may describe his stories as boring. Sometimes he doesn't know how to take a hint or know what personal space is. So he tends to scare women off for a million different reasons. And don't get me wrong, a lot of these rejections were self-inflicted. Teddy isn't entitled to anybody's affections or love. Those women weren't wrong for not liking him. Teddy is a lot to handle. Teddy comes with a lot of emotional problems and self-esteem issues. And you can't expect anybody to just be able to take all that on. And people like Denise just made these issues a lot worse for him. But thankfully, he was able to find someone who didn't mind that he wasn't perfect. Teddy is in therapy and is actively working on his issues. Teddy still has some stuff to work out, but his willingness to do better for the people in his life is an admirable trait of his. Love isn't something that you can force. And that's what Teddy struggled with the most in this series. He would try to force or manufacture relationships that just didn't work. He believed that if he manifested hard enough, a girl will fall for him. Often he tries to change himself to impress women. He pretends to be into boats, pretends to be into curling, and pretended to be into essential oils to hit on Angie. He was trying so hard to be loved and became an active woman repellent because of it. The moment he let his guard down and just let his personality shine is when Kathleen came into the picture. Teddy was known for a long time as the sad guy in the series. He was constantly in search of love in all the wrong places with all the wrong people. Teddy was in denial about Denise. He came on too strong. He acted out of desperation rather than genuine interest. For a long time, he self-sabotaged himself out of a real connection. Once he started to heal a bit and practice self-care, did he start to find happiness. Teddy went from not being able to sleep during Valentine's Day to making solo dates for himself instead. Instead of sinking into bed with sadness, he planned on watching TV instead.
I'm finally gonna check out that show, Law and Order. I DVR'd 400 episodes. Gonna try to catch up.
Oh, a night of romantic murder.
No, don't say anything. No spoilers.
Or he took himself out to dinner.
So I could be the one single. Plus, I could spend some time with someone I'd like to get to know better. Me.
You've been under your own nose the whole time.
Teddy has been improving his self-esteem slowly throughout the series, and now he's been doing great, honestly. He's more confident, he's a little more sure himself, and he's a bit more decisive than he used to be. Teddy went from not being able to get a second date to having a steady girlfriend. A nice girlfriend at that, who holds space for him and tries to understand him. Teddy is a really fun character to talk about, not only because he's so funny for no reason,
I wish my radio worked,
but because he has shown actual growth in the series. Typically, characters like him stay sad forever, but Bob's Burgers decided not to just put him in a stereotypical box and instead let him become a better version of himself throughout the show. Bob's Burgers was just renewed for 4 more seasons, along with a few other shows like American Dad and The Simpsons. So hopefully, if everything goes well, we might see a wedding or an engagement episode kind of soon, hopefully. A Teddy wedding episode would be the most funny, wholesome, chaotic thing that's ever happened. I genuinely hope him and Kathleen work out. Teddy went from being stood up by a surfer girl to having a marriage from hell, then to finally finding himself in a healthy, wholesome relationship. Teddy's love life felt like a never-ending train wreck, but through therapy, friends, and a bit of self-love, Teddy has finally got off at the right stop. Even if Teddy messes up or goes overboard, it's all out of a place of love and wanting to care for those around him. Hopefully, our Teddyrella has finally found his lady in shiny armor, covered in the Irish flag. Let's hope his fairy tale has just begun. So, here's to Teddy, a man who's finally starting to have it all. Hopefully, he will once again be known as the handy hubby, but for the right girl this time. And hopefully this video ages well. Anyways, that's it for part 1. That's everything about Teddy's love life in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love Teddy, and I found his love life to be one of the most fascinating things about him. I hope him and Kathleen stay a long time, and I can't wait to see what they do with this, because lately Bob's Burgers has been playing with their formula a bit, having some sentimental episodes but still having a lot of fun. There is still plenty of non-serious episodes, but they like to sprinkle in a few serious ones in seasons now, and maybe we'll get one about Teddy, because Teddy seems like the perfect character to do a sentimental episode about. Anyways, don't forget to leave your thoughts about Teddy in the comments. Out of all the women I listed, who was your favorite love interest of his? I would love to know. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!